Good evening. Now at 6, we start with the detention hearing of a former legislative aide accused of sex trafficking charges.
This afternoon in federal court, a judge ruled that Craig Scott Valdez will remain behind bars until his trial, given the severity of these charges. Valdez was arrested last Friday. He's accused of sex trafficking, exploitation, coercion, and enticement, and sexual exploitation of children as young as 13 across Alaska. Valdez and his legal team turned in a not guilty plea. If convicted, he could face between 15 years and life in federal prison.
And happening right now, a search for a missing 15-year-old boy in Sandpoint continues. Many people in that small community coming together to help out.
Kaipo Kamananga is a 9th grader at Sandpoint High School. Family and friends say the teen went missing at Red Cove Lake Monday night after falling out of a canoe. 2 other boys on the canoe were able to make it to shore with the help of someone who was on shore. They said they couldn't reach Kaipo to help him as he went under.
We're told volunteers and first responders have been working tirelessly to find him. We also spoke with a local teacher about the search's impact on the school and the town as a whole. He says Kaipo and his family, loved by many. Kaipo played sports. The teacher says he was very popular.
By every single student, whatever your grade was, whatever your social group was, everyone liked him, and he was always kind to everybody. So he was just a really special child.
Search crews have been checking water and nearby shores, but the lake's depth and frigid temps make it very difficult. And a GoFundMe to raise money and to bring in divers and sonar equipment, it's already reached more than $9,000.
We'll continue to track that story. And it's been a record-breaking winter for the interior, with February alone seeing nearly 40 inches of snow. For Fairbanks Public Works, it's been a constant battle to keep the streets clear.
Yeah, crews recently completed a major sweep of the city core, plowing snow into berms for collecting and transporting to designated storage sites. Officials estimate 85% of the core, including downtown, is now cleared. Work will continue tonight on 10th, 11th, and 12th Avenues as teams race to stay ahead of the next big dump.
Doesn't seem like we've been removing much because we've been putting berms right back where we just removed them. We just got down through the core here on our Monday night and picked up the core of Fairbanks. So we've removed most of the snow down there.
Public Works says they plan to return to the downtown area this Sunday night. Their goal is to have the majority of the snow removed from streets and sidewalks by Monday morning.
And as we deal with all this snow, we're seeing a sharp downturn in temperatures, and that's what we're keeping a close eye on.
A close eye. Chief Meteorologist Melissa Fry, she's been keeping a close eye, joining us with the forecast.
We're just cold.
We are. Melissa, how cold
You're
is it going to
watching
get?
it. We're just like, why is it so cold?
Yeah, I think I have goosebumps inside right now because of how cold it is right now. But before I get to how low those temperatures will go and when this wind is going to stop, I have to show you this. We have to start with the good news. Take a look at live conditions right now in Anchorage. How beautiful is that? Gorgeous conditions right now in Anchorage. So if you're inside, it's not bad at all, but I'll put up those current conditions to show you the real story. 2 degrees with wind at 23 miles per hour, gusting as high as 49 miles per hour in the last hour. That brings that wind chill down to below 20 below. So it is cold and it is dangerous. If you have to be out there for more than 20 minutes, that's when frostbite sets in these conditions. So it is important that if you are spending any extended time outdoors, you do have those extra layers and any exposed skin covered up. Single digits in Palmer, 18 below right now in Fairbanks. This is without the wind chill, 30 degrees in Juneau. And you can see these peak wind gusts. They've been extreme, 49 miles per hour in Anchorage, 46 in Talkeetna, 61 in Seward, and strong in Valdez. So we're still seeing that dangerous wind chill. That's true across much of the state. And we do still have a number of winter storm warnings and advisories in Southeast because of the ongoing snow there, and then because of the wind and the cold air here across much of the southern portions of the state. So tonight, be prepared for the cold. Continued light snow showers in Southeast. Those will taper off midday tomorrow, but you can see those high temperatures tomorrow. They're not that high, even with those sunny, dry conditions. I'll have a closer look at that 7-day here in a few minutes.
All right, Melissa, thanks so much. And now, following President Donald Trump's State of the Union address last night, Alaska's news source was able to get a one-on-one interview with Senator Dan Sullivan. He shared his views on current immigration efforts during the president's first year of this second term. I asked Senator Sullivan his perspective on the increase we're seeing in funding and immigration enforcement in the U.S. this past year. He praised President Trump's broader efforts to limit people immigrating into the U.S. through the southern border, saying in part this is both a humanitarian and security issue. Sullivan also talked about challenging individual cases, calling some even heartbreaking, that can arise as the federal government works to expand the capacity of the Department of Homeland Security.
And I think that overall trend for the country is something welcomed enormously by Alaskans, by Americans, to have a secure border, safer communities.
Senator Sullivan is expected to face Democratic challenger Mary Peltola in the upcoming midterm elections. In response to this speech, Peltola said in part, quote, "Our future depends on fixing the rigged system in D.C. that's shutting down Alaska while politicians feather their own nest. It's time to make D.C. work for us again." That's Peltola's response to the State of the Union address last night. And you can catch a reaction from all of Alaska's congressional delegation to that State of the Union address right now on our website and mobile app.
Well, many families and students still adjusting to the news about the Anchorage School Board voting to permanently close 3 elementary schools. The decisions were made to help reduce a $90 million budget gap. Joe Allgood, he is live at one of those named schools tonight, Campbell Stem Elementary, with a recap of that meeting he was at last night. Joe?
Yeah, Campbell Stem here is going to be closed at the end of this school year, and you could cut the tension with a knife at last night's nearly 5-hour school board meeting as parents and students awaited to hear the final vote. The board, facing a challenge of a $90 million deficit, had to make major cuts, ultimately passing a decision to close Campbell Stem, Lake Otis, and Fire Lake Elementary schools. All 3 are set to close at the end of the 2025-26 school year. The narrow 4-3 vote came after hours of emotional testimony from parents and students in the weeks prior. And Superintendent Jarrett Bryant said that he recognized the difficulty of this conversation, but said that they simply cannot maintain buildings that are no longer full. We spoke with a parent of 2 Campbell STEM students who are understandably devastated.
The first reaction was tears, and then very upset and angry about the situation. Disappointed in ASD, very disappointed.
The district plans to repurpose the buildings or sell them off as excess property. And while this vote is a major step, families are still holding out hope that the last minute funding boost from the state could save their schools. While the 3 elementary schools are closing, the Anchorage School Board is using those savings to throw a lifeline to other programs. In a unanimous vote, the board approved an amendment to protect funding for almost all middle school and high school sports, with the exception of gymnastics and esports. Schools will also be, the savings will also be used to preserve a little over 15 nursing positions across the district. However, the move is already being criticized as a one-time funding fix for the problem. The final budget vote came down to a vote of 5-2, and these 3 schools are ultimately going to close at the end of this school year. We'll have more on the other affected programs and what the future holds tonight on the Late Edition. Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
When the first sight of snow hits, the 773rd Civil Engineer Squadron is already working to make sure operations can continue on J-Bear.
Georgina Fernandez introduces us to the service members who are making sure weather does not disrupt any operations in this week's Northern Front.
When Mother Nature calls, they're the ones to answer.
It's instantaneous.
J-Bear's 773rd Civil Engineer Squadron, tracking the snowfall before it even hits.
As soon as it starts falling, we're going.
Ensuring that inclement weather days do not stop operations on base as they work to clear paths to major infrastructure and keeping tarmacs clear for aircraft.
Typically, we can go with our equipment and setup. We can run 6 brooms wide, and we can clear the full runway and down and back pass probably about 15 minutes.
And here in Anchorage, where we see an average of 77.9 inches of snow annually, there's a lot of work to be done. This year's hot and cold cycles also adding an icy mess to clean up.
This year and last year as well have been heavy ice years. It actually costs a lot more in fuel, manpower, and effort than it does just with snow.
Their work is crucial in keeping operations going.
The aircraft, they need a certain level of traction. to safely take off and land. That's the two most vital parts of flight.
Just ask Tech Sergeant Skylar Shotwell. Where were you before?
I was in Idaho.
It's a different playing field here on the northern front.
Here we're running approximately a $100 million fleet, where we weren't even a fraction of that in Idaho. But we only got about 18 inches of snow per year, where here we can get that in a day.
As his crew of around 100 people work around the clock, October to May, to maintain base mission readiness, not letting any weather stop the mission.
We don't necessarily have to worry about when the call comes in because we're ready all the time.
As it keeps the ground ready.
It's just so we can keep the mission going.
For whenever the call for service comes. Georgina Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.